Well, welcome to another edition of My Harlow, My Life. And I'm lucky to say joining me today, of course, as you can see to my left, is the one and only Mr. Darren Blewitt. And Darren, I suppose first things first, and thanks for joining us on the show today. But I suppose, how's lockdown been treating you?
Yeah, I mean, not bad, mate. Start at the start. I think like most people, getting paid for sitting on your bum was not good. It was bad. It was decent. And then there's been ups and downs, mate. But we're good as gold now with the missus and daughter. So happy days, mate. Good stuff.
Yeah, happy days. So I mean, with yourself, what are you doing with yourself these days?
Well, I work in construction, work-wise. Obviously, last season I was back in football last season. Some people might have seen back with Brentwood, where I played for about 4 or 5 years with my manager Ryan O'Rourke. Got back into it after being out for 2 or 3 years, just nothing, no contact with no one, really, nothing. Really started off. To be honest, when I started off, I was trying to get me around the coaching side of things because we was a young management team, just starting to get into the swing of things, despite some results going up and down. But I was really enjoying it, and then we got sacked, which is unfortunate. Silly circumstances, really. Not really all football related, which I don't really want to go into. But hopefully we'll get back into it, mate, because I really was starting to enjoy it. Yeah, slapping a few heads, which I like doing. It's good.
So I mean, with Harlow, I mean, how did it come about? You joining Harlow, and when was that you actually joined Harlow?
Right, I think again, I was playing for Brentwood. I was playing for Brentwood Town, and I think I just got a bit stuck in my ways. I was there for 4 or 5 years, I think it was in the end. And we had a decent run, and we lost in the playoff final, I think semi-final. So I was always in decent teams, and I was playing well. And I think I got to the point where I had to leave, just because I was getting just being lazy, to be honest with you. I was comfortable where I was. And then I spoke to Chapo was on to me. 2 people were on to me to come over. Spoke to Chapo, went down to the ground to see Chapo. And to be honest, the first time I'd seen the club Harlow, the stadium, everything. It's even now. I just can't believe how and good of a club it is. So facility-wise, the pitch, everything about it. And I spoke to Chapo. He got me in a headlock, and I signed. That was about it. But I signed as soon as I went and see him. Just loved the whole setup. Even though it took me a big pay cut, I took a big pay cut. All right. So no, but I just wanted to. I signed for time straight away, and then started that season.
Don't talk to the fans about pay cuts. Do you know what I mean? Not a good.
I'll take it back.
Not a good time. Yeah, but no. In all fairness, I mean, you joined that season. I mean, who was part of the squad at that time when you went in, and what season was that?
I can't remember the year, but it was we had a really good team in the squad. We lost in the playoff final. We lost to Whittam.
So the Whittam year, yeah.
It was a bad ending. But I mean, we had obviously. I can remember I can't remember the goalie's name, which is bad really on my part, but he's a head case. But then I remember the whole set. I remember it was Lane Ely left back, me and Josh. I'm not saying his surname because I always get it wrong. And Donny right back, with Robbie Martin right back, and then we had obviously had Brownie there. But I think he had a few injuries at the time. We had Stan Magoo, we had Fab Sims, we had Dadson, we had Jamie Smith, who was an unbelievable player, and really up front. So I mean, we had such a good team on paper and a good squad. Leon Antoine as well. Sorry, I forgot Leon. He'll hate that. We had Leon as well. We had such a good team, good lads as well. Good. We had a good laugh. Honestly, I was there for 1 year, but I felt like I was there forever. I loved it so much. I loved it. And I was, and obviously, I got to be captain as well, which was funny at the start because Dave, to be honest with you, every club I go to or speak to who don't know me, they hate me. They really got no time for me because every time I played against them, I'm loud, I'm horrible and whatever. But once you get to know me, I feel like I'm a decent bloke, So when I got into the change room, I think a few heads were looking at me like, and I got the armband. I thought, oh, Chapo, put me right under the cosh, yeah. So, I took it, and then everyone took to me, and I was myself, and having a good season, getting good. But we started off really bad, to be honest with you, if I remember rightly. I was playing with about every week. It seemed I had another centre half partner. Really struggled at the start, I think. So to get to the playoff final, which again, I can't believe we lost to that. To be honest with you, no disrespect to Witten, but the team we beat 2 weeks before, I think it was in the league 3-0. We lost 3-0 in the final, so it was gutting. But I loved it there, Dave. I had such a good year there, and foolishly on myself that I didn't stay longer. Yeah, so that was it really.
So when you joined in there, though, I mean, what was it like working alongside people like, you know, especially I suppose Danny Brown, I suppose, and Donny. I mean, two people with real experience in it. I mean, what was that like working with those guys?
Well, I see you've interviewed done with Brownie. Oh, he still scares me, mate. Whoa, he still scares me. I'm not worried. I'm not scared of many people, but he was. But by the way, what a bloke, top bloke. Yeah, I don't think he played as many games as he wanted to or should have that year. But he was always an influence. He was like a link between the players and Chapo. He'd always stick up for us. But him knowing Chapo. But Donny I knew anyway. But again, he had a lot of injuries as well. So he didn't play as many games, I don't think, Zealy would have liked. And he got a bit fat, to be honest with you. So, but no, he was still good, such a good player with his experience, you know. But I knew Donny anyway. But yeah, no, just the whole squad was brilliant. I said Brown, he was good. Just had good lads. I mean, we had Lane Eady, who I know Harlow fans love. But when he come, I think it was his first or second proper season. So I like to feel that I helped him out in regards to, because I was an experienced player anyway myself. I think I was 28, 29 by the time I went to Harlow. Yeah, so I helped him. I feel like I helped him during the games. Obviously, he's got his own ability, and then Josh as well with centre half with me. So we just had a good mix of everything really. Yeah, so I just love my time there, mate. It's brilliant.
Well, Donny was one of those when we first started the Monday night show, some sort of 7-8 years ago now, and he came on the show, and he was one of the first people that came on the show from the Harlow team. And we sat him down and we had a chat with him. And the first thing he said, "Is there anything I'm not allowed to say?" And I said, "Well, you know, you can't swear," because at the time it was live on radio, like, you can't swear, Donny, you know. Right. And then I can't even remember who it was, but somebody sent him in a message or a question. Yeah. And of course, straight away, the first thing he's gone, Dave, he said, "Just go and tell him to F off." But you know, and then you're sitting there going, "Oh no!" But it was...
Oh God, I didn't ask you that question actually. Can I swear? Try and hold in.
Listen, other people have, trust me, and none of the players have, the supporters have, but the players have. But I mean, with that, I mean, what games do you remember? The one thing I remember about yourself, and we spoke about it sort of before, was I think me and the now CEO at the club, Tim Saul, had just started setting up the youth system, and it was after, I think it was just before a game, or just after a game or whatever it might have been. Of a Harlow first team game, and of course the kids would have been playing first thing in the morning. And I remember, you guys went over to them to say hello to them, etc. A few of the first team went over and said hello, but there was a couple of kids there wanted you to sign stuff for them, and of course one of the kids actually asked you to sign his football boots. I mean, I know what the reaction was, and I know what you did, but what was that like for you?
Well, I remember that quite clearly, Dave. Yeah, I mean. He come up to remember because the kids used to train in the mornings and whatever before a game. So I remember coming up to his signed boots. I've looked at the old man. I've looked at his dad, and I thought he's probably about, I don't know, boots are £100 nowadays. But if I sign my name on his boot, he'd have to buy a pair of boots. So I was like, I remember obviously asking the dad. I said, "Is it all right to sign? Do you want me to sign this? Is it all right to sign it?" I think I did. I think I did in the end. I think I did. And he was all right with it. So. Yeah, I know it was a fun experience because you don't really expect that, especially when you get into normally like signing boots. You know, my career went in reverse, Dave. So I'd done that when I was younger, but now, yeah, when I don't, I was a bit worried because I know how much boots are. If it was my son, I'd be like, no chance, no chance. So, yeah, no, I remember doing that, mate. I remember that.
But I mean, with that, I mean, is there anything you can, any sort of funny stories you can tell us? Games, etc., that you went through. And I mean, I was told of one very funny incident that happened in the dressing room, but I don't know if you want to tell that. But it was quite funny when I did hear the story.
Right. Okay, mate. I'll crack on. Go on. Oh, no problem. Go on. If you've got something to say it, mate.
No, I mean, I don't know if you remember the story yourself, you know?
Can't. So I remember you mentioned to me last night. I can't remember, but there was loads. I mean, we had such a good. I say the lads were so good there. We had such a laugh. We had the SpongeBob onesie thing we used to wear after training if you had a nightmare. But again, like there was a lot of lads in our team who were no nonsense. So if there was something to be said, they were saying it. So we had a lot of arguments, a lot of nearly punch ups. I remember we had a centre midfielder called John, Polish boy. I can't remember his surname. Sorry, good player. He came to us midfielder, and me and him had a punch up. You know, it just used to happen in the change room. But I think that's good. I think sometimes you have to have that. I'll beat him, by the way. No, I think you have to have that. You have to have that sometimes in a squad because you've got to have a balance. Obviously, after you wipe your mouth, you move on, and you do what you got to do what's right for the team and yourself. But I like that. I like the mentality of men and men in the football game. So it's like we used to get along, but there was so much. We just had good spirit all round. The lads were so good. Like, you only have to name some of the boys, and everyone in the league would know he was a character. He was a character. But I think that's why we've done well. You know, I think that's why.
I mean, a lot of people used to say your central defending partnership with Josh, but Josh was one of those people that, you know, no disrespect, he was back then, of course. How can we put this? Wasn't probably got as much finesse as probably what he's got now. I mean, you know, the ball mostly ended up in the stand.
Yeah, I mean, he was Thanks for that. I'm so happy you said that because I would have said it. No, I mean, he's again, that's why me being the older player and Josh was with me. Again, he must have only been 20 or something like that, young. But I like that because I had that at Brentwood. I had a young centre half with me. I dragged him along, so I helped him out, and I feel like I was good at that. You know, I felt I was good talker. People sort of had a little bit of respect for me, only because I was old and I played and done okay. So I like that though. But yeah, I mean. Yeah, he wouldn't put his head where I'd put my head. He wouldn't do that or whatever. But everyone's different, you know. But I think in the end, we're decent. I made him look good. Let's be honest. All right, and that's it now. But I mean, I just loved that side. I loved it. I loved being that elder one who could drag the young boys when they haven't come across experiences that they have before, you know, which you don't until you've done that. And I knew that, so I love that side of it.
Any of the matches that you can remember that season, you know, before we get to sort of the end of the season, but during the actual normal playing season, any sort of games there that sort of stick out for you?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. The first thing I want to say before I forget, I remember my first training session. I remember this, and Chapo was there. I'd come from Brentwood, where it was a decent team, and we tried to pass and went at the back. And although I was a big old lump and a unit, I felt like I could play a good left foot, so I could pass it. I wasn't a worldy player, but I could do pass 5-10 yard little pop in here or there. And I remember we started training, and the ball, we just did a match, and I was shape, and I was playing as a centre half, obviously. And I've got the ball, and I passed it into midfield, and Chapo's just screamed and gone, "Stop!" I'm going, what's happening here? He's going, "Don't you ever pass that ball 5 yards there, clip it in the corner, clip it into an area that is dangerous. Get into an area where we can press something like that." And so some people might think that's booting it long ball. And it wasn't that. It was playing into a nice area. Don't play there. But I was like, what is going on here? What have I signed for here? He screamed at me. Come right up to your face. Don't you ever effing do that again. And that's what have I signed for here? You was cuddling me, holding my hand. Best defender in the league half an hour ago. And he's screwing in my face, Chapo. But it was a straight away bang, but I had no problem with that. I loved that. There's no problem. But it was straight away. It was a complete different way of playing. But by the way, it's so effective. I had no problem with that at all.
But it was always
lots of games.
Sorry, it was always one of those things you said about passing, etc., etc. You know, I would always talk to people on the Monday night show, and they would say to me, "Oh, we don't have to scout Harlow because we know how Harlow play. You know, we know exactly what they're going to do, etc., etc." He said, and one person actually said to me that they thought Leon Antoine was probably a bit like a special team player from American football. You know, every time we had a free kick or a goal kick or whatever, you bring him on, stick him on the left-hand side, punt it up to him, and he'd flick it on the Reedy. And then when the rest take him back off again, it was. But that was how they used to describe.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, we did use it, but what you got to realise is what's wrong in doing that?
Yeah,
You're using your strength. You're using your strengths to affect the game for yourselves. You know, so we used to do that, and cool, he could leak the boy. So it was like, yeah, it was direct, but it must have worked. I mean, we lost in the final, so we done well out of it. You know, I think you do with what you got. Even though we had some really good players in that team as well, like Jamie Smith and like, unbelievable player he was, and just good footballers, but. It's just if that's what can affect the game for yourselves, then you do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, game wise, I can remember we were playing away. I can't remember the team, but it was away. We won 1-0, and it was a right tough game. It was 0-0, and we scored about 10 minutes to go. And Leon actually played centre half with me in that game. We had so many injuries, and Leon played centre half with me, and he played quite well actually. But I remember the ball was running down the line. I'm shielding it off, and one of their players has just tried to kick me as I'm running it off the pitch. So I just threw an elbow, cracked him on the nose, bang, a little sharp one, and he opened his nose up, and they're all screaming, running over, and I can never forget. I think it was Stan Magoo. I think Brownie might have been there as well. He picked one of these players up like he was a rag doll and just threw him across the floor. And I just looked around and thought, oh, this will do me, you know. I'm surrounded by proper blokes here. I got a lot of time for it. That's when I knew that was early on in maybe a fourth or fifth game or something like that. It was really early. But that's when I knew straight away I was surrounded by good lads, you know. But yeah, just stuff like that, just little things like that. I do remember just team being a team, you know, which I loved whilst I was there. I really did.
People like Brownie, and as I said to him in his interview, he's one of these blokes, and I don't know if I said it on air or off air, but he when he saw him come up on the screen, you know, they hadn't seen him for quite some time. As you said, he still looks as menacing now as he did then, but also he looked like the monk from out of Dream Machine. And when he came up, and I just said to him, look, you know, no disrespect, I said, people would ask me to describe you as a person, and I said, you're one of these people that I wouldn't want to see in a light alley, let alone a dark alley. No. I said, because he's a character, isn't
he? He's got a heart, yeah. I mean, he has. He's got. I mean, I don't want to slag him off because he scares me. Yeah. So, no, Brownie, you're a lovely looking bloke, mate. Take notice of Dave. He's all wrong.
There'll be a knock at the door in a minute. Yeah.
No, just such a top bloke, though. Isn't he? He's such a good geezer as well. That's a good thing. Such a top bloke.
No, he's a sensational guy. But I mean, during that season, as we went on, any fun bits in the dressing room. I mean, as I said, you said, you know, the only one I heard about you was you. Shall we say? In the gentleman's room in the thing, but I mean, I don't know if you remember the rest of the story, but I won't say it on air.
I don't. You're gonna have to elaborate, mate. Come on, it's your show. Come on. You're gonna have to elaborate, mate. Can't remember. Don't be nervous, Dave. I'm 200 miles away from you. Carry on. Listen,
mate. The story I heard was you were sitting on there. You were sitting on, in the lab. Shall we say, having a number 2? And all of a sudden you had a sneeze, but you forgot the piece of paper you had in your hand you'd used for something else rather than actually sneezing.
Yeah, that happened, but yeah, definitely. That probably happened loads of times. Yeah, that happened loads of times. I just get on. But yeah, mate, that's. But I love stuff like. I mean, one thing I can remember was when we used to have the mascot Harry the Hawk, obviously, and was it? I can't remember. Was it your daughter that was it? Or was that just a rumour?
No, it was my daughter inside there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was my young daughter. Yeah.
So this might be a bit. I don't know if she ever told you, but I didn't know. I just thought it was a bloke in there or whatever. So every time I come in, I'll smack it around the head and just jump in but not just you don't know, do you? Not chatting about dragging get involved because I just like getting involved. And every time she's having I think we've done a photo shoot and I jump over there, jump in a photo with Harry the Hawk and from, but then I think when I did find out, I said, "Do you know that's David's daughter?" And I said, "You've let me do this for 4 weeks. I've been doing this. I've been throwing her around. Never said one thing, which I feel really bad about, Dave. So I apologise now, but just loved it. But I just that's bad, really, isn't it? Because
she's got over the brain. She's got over the brain damage. She's all right now.
It's toughened her up. It's tough as old boots now. But yeah, I remember that involved. But that just shows a club like they're trying to do, even have a mascot, have a sponsor, have everything. They were trying to do things the right. I know there's been a few things going on. I don't know in depth, so I don't want to comment. But lately, there's things going on. But then, I mean, it was the setup was perfect. Everything was going to. Because I know the season after they got promoted, right? I think
2 seasons later. Yeah, 2 seasons.
So that was all due to us that was all due to us our year laying the foundations, right? So all them boys who lifted the trophy, but one of them said thanks to us, by the way. No, but I think a few of the boys were still there. So I didn't think we did lay the foundations really, because we should have got promoted that year. But just as trying to do things correct then. I think.
So I mean, going those sort of games when you go, going into games and it's sort of going on later in the season. If I remember rightly, we were tinkering on the brink of just being outside of the playoffs for most of the time, until the last few weeks. So, what was it like in the dressing room? Was Chapo still saying, "Well, look, VCD and Whittam are finding out at the top. We've still got a chance of maybe going up automatically," or because if I remember, it was still quite close.
I think that was always. I think once we went on a really good run, I think it was like, I think between us, I've been in the playoffs a few times. I knew I'd lost 2 before, I think, in the final, both finals. So I knew and always had been on probably on paper or whatever, probably the better team, and I knew our playoffs could be. So I really wanted to get automatic. That was in my head anyway. I think we did speak about it. I think Chapo might have even mentioned it, but maybe not to the whole group, maybe to myself, because me and Chapo talk on our own as well as just get the feel of things, stuff like that. But when you're on a good run, it doesn't matter where you are. You ain't. I always say, if you're on a good run, a winning run, you can never see the next loss. You just feel like you're just going to keep winning. Same with if you're losing, you just can't see where the next win's coming from. But I think it was, I personally thought we could get automatic, but obviously we didn't. But I remember the fact that everyone in that team so confident, so when you look around, you just thought in the change room, no, we're gonna win. There's no way we're gonna lose today. I think the overall thing would have been, let's just get it all, mate. Please, just keep going. Obviously didn't, but we did go on a really good run where I thought we weren't going to lose. So it was a bit unfortunate we did get in a pass, not automatic really, because I think Reedy scored something like 50, 60 goals that year. It was just crazy. Dadson scored loads, and we just thought we were good. There's no way we're not going to go straight up anyway. So I think we was confident in that way, but just didn't work out right that way. Sometimes it don't.
So I mean, when you scoped away games and stuff like that, who was your travelling partners, or did you go by yourself?
I'd go with Donny sometimes. Yeah, we go with Donny quite a lot. I think because he was just on the same sort of area from we travelling together. But Leon Antoine as well sometimes. But I think we travelled. But I remember all the fans as well. Like we'd always talking about the fans quickly before I do not mention them, because I can't believe how good they were then. I was so good at home and away. My old man loved it. He was right involved because everyone was boozed up and having a laugh and the flares and it was just proper like a proper club, I loved it. That's why I loved it so much. When winning away from home, you can't beat it when you got 100 of our away fans there, which is ridiculous on a Tuesday night. It's so hard to get that 100, 150, 200, whoever. And it's just so good. That's what I loved. I loved the fans were so good. I still speak to some of them now, like yourself. I speak to Ray, I speak to people like just such a good. And that's what I feel like we had a good bond with the fans at that time. The players and I felt like myself as well. I'd always go and try and speak to them, have a beer after the game and whatever. I think that bond that's important. I still think that now actually.
But do you think with fans, I suppose fans wise, do you feel that's, I can put it, still the right thing that should happen with players that, maybe when you was manager with Ryan, did you sort of encourage them to actually go into the bars and that afterwards and spend time with the fans? Because it feels like it's more of a little bit of a dying art now that it doesn't. They don't get that connection anymore.
Dave, on that definitely. I mean, last year last season we tried that, but it was. I can't really say right, but it wasn't the right feel. But I still think you have to have, especially I think if you're captain, and I think all the players should anyway. I think you should. What harm is it going in after the game for half an hour, lads, and mingling with the fans? You get that bond shot. I had it when I was at Brentford early, and then Harlow even more. You can't. It don't care what you say. If you get your fans aside, it has to help. It has to be progressive for yourself. It has to be positive. I think that's definitely one thing that should still. It does, but you're right though. It doesn't happen as much now. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But I just think that's because football's changed a lot, even down the lower leagues. But I think that is definitely one thing that's missing. And I would still, once we get back into football, which I'm sure I will hopefully soon, something I would encourage, definitely, especially with my captain.
So I mean, we played. I think in that season you was in, we played Haybridge sort of 3 times, didn't we? That year we played home and away in the cup, and also so home and away in the league, and then of course we played them in the cup. What type of team were they? Were they a tough team to go up against?
They were tough. Yeah, I mean, I've always had big run-ins with Haybridge. Their fans not the nicest to me. So I loved playing against them and beating them. Really loved it. So yeah, I mean, but team-wise, I think they had Luke Callender up front, and I think someone else. They had really tough, strong team. Always a hard game. But I think is that who we beat in the semi-final?
Yeah.
Was it? I can't really remember.
It was.
It was. Yeah. So, and I remember because there's a go photo of me jumping into their fans. So it's a great photo. I've got that. And yeah, I mean, they were always a tough team to play against, but that's the games you want to play against, especially I think Luke was one of my toughest players to play against in that league. He always scored bundles of goals.
So leading up to that sort of semi-final, I mean, you play your last game on the Saturday in the league, and again, for life, I can't remember who it was against, but you're now in the semi-finals. It was a situation where I think on the final day there was 2 trophies flying about because Ware and Whittam and VCD. I think VCD were at Cheshunt and Whittam were at home to whoever they were at home to. Of course, there had to be sort of like you didn't know who you was going to possibly play in the playoffs because it was going to be that was the 4th playoff. You didn't know if it was going to be VCD, it was going to be Bath, or it was going to be Whittam. So we get Haybridge Swifts. I mean, what did Chapo sort of say to you guys in the dressing room? I don't know, or in training before the game. What did he say to you guys to say? Look, the semi-finals, the next game up. What was the sort of talking wise?
Yeah, I mean, I say I'd done it previously as well, 2 or 3 years on the trot, so I knew what was coming. But I remember him actually saying to me personally after that. Whatever I say to lads, this is a proper tough game, you know that. I said, of course I do. He said, you have to understand, you yourself have to make sure every single one knows that if you lose Tuesday, what's the point of the season? Just you've done all that for what? You at least give yourself a chance to get to the final and let's go up. Come on, let's do it. And I remember, but as a player wise, there wasn't one player in that change would ask and go, they'd say, oh, no, I don't fancy us. We'd all back us, so I'm saying, because of the lads we had. I said, I named the names again, all the lads. It's just, we were so confident, And I wanted to win more than probably against any team I could because of being Haybridge, So, I mean, going into that, we was confident. I think we won, was it 2-0, I think, in the semi-final? I think we won, so I can't remember what the result was, but we played so well in that game. We played so well, and I remember, but the build up to it was just, we were just so confident, Dave. It really was, and I wasn't really nervous or anything like that at all. I just that flipped when we talk about the final. I'll talk about that as well. But the semi-final was a complete different mindset to some of the boys than it was the final, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I remember that.
I mean, I've heard different stuff, about that, and I've said it on these programs as we've been going ahead, But I spoke to Jody Brown, which I've said to a couple of other people, and he said that he thought the semi-final was lost when the players came out of the tunnel, because he said to me, literally, Dave, he said, of all your fans around the actual tunnel, he said everybody, my players walked out and went, I don't fancy this too much. Do you know what I mean? This is going to be a bit too much for us. I personally said on the night to Ray Dyer, I said to him, for me, I said it was lost when Jody Brown decided he was going to take the manager of the month award on the pitch before the program before it started. But when I spoke to Brownie said, "Well, no, David, said they lost it in our dressing room." So I said, in their dressing room, I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I was out there smashing on the door." He said, "Literally smashing on the door." So you talk to us. You get to the ground. Where do you think you won the game? And take us to what happened.
I remember Brownie doing that. I could remember, and we was just giving it Billy Big Potatoes. But that was because we were so confident, but not arrogant. Not arrogant with it, never arrogant. Very just unbelievably confident. But I think you're going into their backyard. They 100% thought they were going to beat us. Say Jody was that their mindset would be they're going to beat us definitely. But we knew we was going into there. But I'd prefer being the underdog. I'm going in there saying, "Come on, then let's have a right go," you know. And I just look at the players in our room. How we could have been the underdogs, I will never know, because we just had proper blokes in there, and we was all confident and screaming. And again, I remember coming the fans out as that, because that tunnel that leads to the pitch there at Haybridge. It was like a home. When you come out, it felt like a home game. But then when you obviously you're away. But our whole build up was, come on, and they ain't getting. There's no way they're beating us. 100% not beating us. And I was just so confident going out there. But I remember, it's so funny you said that, because I did actually forget that. But Brownie, I think I was always giving it a big one anyway as I'm going out. I'd always, if I get to the front, I'd always just try and give a little. It might sound pretty pathetic to some people, but I'd always come out last, just through weird, and then walk to the front of the line as captain. I'd always come out last, always had done. And then as I come out, I'd always just give a little nudge, little bang, little headbutt, or whatever I could do to one of their players. Just I always get to the captain, and he'd try and shake me, and I'd just nudge him straight away. Just a little thing. And to me, some people might seem like nothing, but to me, it always, psychologically, in my head, it might not work. Sometimes I didn't, obviously, but I'd give him a nudge or something. I'd always done that. And I just felt that we was the blokes and they were the boys. And that's why we won, definitely.
I mean, was you surprised? I mean, did it feel different to the other 3 games that you'd played against them, though? Did you feel that they felt that they were under pressure? And did you feel that they bottled it a little bit before you got into the pitch?
They bottled it. They did bottle it, but I feel that's just because we was so up for it. So even the warm up, we was aggressive. We was confident. We was just going out there with no fear at all. And I think they just couldn't handle it that day. I just don't think they could handle the. Again, I think it just come down to the Menvie boys that day, and we just dominated. Proper performance. That was one of my favourite performances, definitely the season. There's a photo of me and Chapo cuddling, which is a bit sad. But it's a proper come on. I mean, and one with, there's a photo I've got as well with me, with our fans after the game, everyone hugging behind the goal. Yeah. Just so like, that's that bond, you know? Yeah. That was that bond where getting let's crack on Sunday. I think the game is final. But yeah, no, that was it. We just dominated from the start, mate.
What was it like what was the feelings like at half time in the game? I mean, what was the feelings like at full time in the dressing room?
Full time, obviously, it's just you. Everyone says they'll think, I don't celebrate too much, but of course you do. We just beat them in their backyard. We're in the final. Yeah, we were mental. Against a team that in my eyes, and I might be wrong or out of all the sadness, that they thought they were going to win, and they were having themselves too much. They weren't as good as they thought in my eyes. So although during the season we struggled against them, but I just felt like it was the right time. And after the game, of course, you do celebrate, not going on piss and having a drink, whatever, but just going, yes, what a result. And that was such a buzz. To be honest, half time I can't remember, Dave. I'm always the same half time. I'm just trying. When I'm on a pitch, I'm 100 miles per hour, and I'm so aggressive and focused. When I get half time, I do try and calm down a bit, because I can't do it for 90 minutes plus half time, because I'll just have a breakdown and go completely mental. So that's my time to sort of calm down at half time. So we'll try to anyway.
So what did Chapo say to everybody at the end of the game?
Just look, that's it. I think he was trying to be more come on. I said, we've done it, enjoy it. But look, usual Sunday, we've got to go. I think the final was a Sunday. We've got to concentrate now, training Thursday, and then we'll crack on for Sunday. So it was more like, but Chapo's good at that, where he's he'll front it, but I know inside he was buzzing, because I had a chat with him after anyway. Myself, I'd always talk to him individually, so we'd have a little, come on with that, let's crack on for Sunday. So yeah, I think he was trying to be, which managers do, you try and keep level-headed and that. So, but no, we just getting prepped for Sunday, mate. Training on a Thursday, I think, and then crack on Sunday. Yeah.
So what was the feeling in the dressing room? Because of course the other semi-final was Whittam against Needham Market. It was a really close affair. I think Whittam just pitched right at the end of the game. It might have been extra time or whatever. I know they only just about got past Needham, but I mean, in the dressing room, I mean, before, maybe after, whatever. Who was you hoping for yourself to get in the final? Was you hoping for Whittam because you'd beaten them twice previously, or was you hoping for someone like Needham Market?
Yeah, I think. Being honest, it would have been we wanted Whittam. I thought Needham Market were a good team, to be honest with you, yeah. But I think you've got to be confident against a team that I know 2 weeks previous or week previous we beat them 3-0. I think that was the result, and we dominated. I just didn't. Which probably, looking back at it now, was probably how we felt with Haybridge when we got to the final. They felt with us, you know. Oh, these lot, they've beat us. They probably think it's a walkover. Although we didn't. I think psychologically, some of the boys maybe did, if I'm looking back here and being honest. But I genuinely, personally, would have wanted Whittam because I wasn't overly concerned about him, to be honest with you. I fancied us big time. But I think some of the boys probably in the same position did, but they didn't have that bit of experience what I had, where I knew deep down I can say, yeah, I fancy us, but I know how hard it's going to be because it's the final.
Lane Eady said to me that you had a training session, a very light training session in between the final and the semi-final. I mean, what was that like? You know, when you got there, I mean, what was the words of wisdom did Chapo give all of you then?
It was so relaxed. It was relaxed. It was everyone we were like, because you don't see each other for a couple of days, whatever, and then you see again each other. Just all lads walking in, training. We knew it was going to be a light session. Chapo was more talking about the final than doing any tactical work or whatever. We knew what we had to do. But again, I think I remember speaking to Chapo that I spoke to him during the day, and I spoke to him at training, and it was the same thing what I just said then. So that's basically I've said we both probably would have preferred Whittam, I think. So it's then telling the younger lads or the lads that haven't been in the final or whatever, because there was a few, 3 or 4 maybe a bit more that hadn't. That this is going to be a proper hard game. So trying to flip it and say, this is the team we're going to have to beat. You know, these are it's at their place again. It's going to be right tough. So I think it was more trying to get into their heads to say, yeah, look, it's going to be a proper game. And I think I tried to speak to a few lads individually as well, which I'll speak in a minute, especially at the day of the game, which I feel that some of them didn't perform anywhere near they should have, and got nervous, to be honest with you.
So you spoke to them individually. I mean, as captain, did you see that responsibility to go around and have a chat with them that night or before on phone before the final?
I'd speak up, especially defenders. So Lane, I would speak to, but Josh, I would speak to all the time. I try and speak to him as often as I could. And on the game of the bloody, I've got things mixed up. Day of the game, I spoke to Josh for about half an hour. I was worried. He might not remember this, but I was worried. I was concerned, and to be honest, it turned out my worries were true. But and Lane as well, who I felt was a bit more mature for his age, but still I needed to speak to him. So it's more them sort of players. Not so much on the training day, but on the morning of the game when I got there. I'd like to get there early, but I'd like to speak to players only because I don't want to come across as, oh yeah, he knows this, knows that. But if you're an older player, I used to do it when I was a young kid. I'd listen to the older players, especially in my position. I had to. So I tried to relay that on, and I always tried to do that. So that was mainly them sort of players there, because they were probably the youngest players in that team as well. So I tried to speak to them. But as I said, I don't think it really went into their head because it was new to them, you know.
So you get there and you get to Whittam on the final day.
Yeah.
I mean, the pitch itself, and I mean, I was there. The pitch itself was like the Sahara Desert. You know, it was all lumps and bumps everywhere. You're up against a team that you think you should beat anyway. Chapo said, and I think Lane sort of reiterated it, and probably Junior did as well, that the actual dressing room didn't feel right when you've gone into the dressing room that day. I mean, can you put a finger on what that was?
I 100% agree with that. And do you know what I think it come down to? I think it come down to the fact that we was so myself, I was trying to be ultra relaxed, too relaxed, because instead of worrying about myself, I was really worried about Not that it's a dig on them, Lane or Josh or whoever it was, but mainly them two, because of the positions they played in myself. I felt responsibility for them. And I was really concerned about, but I was trying to be ultra relaxed where I was like, oh, not myself. I'm an intense person. I'll get to the game. We'll have a laugh at the start, but then serious shit then. There's no, we're doing the warm up, we're doing everything proper. There's no thingy. So, and I think with Josh, I remember saying to Josh, so I got him on the pitch and I said, about 1 o'clock it must have been, a couple of hours before kickoff or whenever it was. I can't remember, it was about 2 hours before kickoff. And I said, you ready? Yeah, you ready? You ready? And like, yeah. And he was trying to be relaxed as well. I was thinking, you're trying too hard here. You're trying too hard. And I remember I pulled him. I said, sort yourself out. No, you're trying too hard here. Don't be flash. And he said to me, what do you mean? And I said, you're trying too hard to be relaxed. You ain't been here before, have you? You're a kid. You ain't been here before. This is how I talked to him. And it weren't disrespectful. That was just the way I talked to him. You know what today's about, didn't you? It's proper. Don't let me down. Don't let us down. Don't let yourself down. But it was still too joke. It was too jokey, too relaxed. Not taking them lightly, but I think everyone just tried to take the fact that it's a final out their head, and let's relax and let's just let's go out there. We're going to win today. It's going to be nice. But it don't work like that. And you have to be yourself. You have to be. If you're intense, you're intense. You're intense. You're intense. So that's why I feel that.
I mean, that's what happened. I can't remember. Did Donny play? Did Donny play the final?
I
know he was suffering for a few injuries at the time.
I can't remember if it was Robbie Martin or Donny played right back. Because I remember their first 2 goals come from that side, which was a shame. It was over the top and in between Josh and the right centre back. No, I think he. You know what? I can't actually remember, but I remember Robbie Martin played right back quite a lot.
Yeah, because the question was going to be: do you think you know during that coming to the end of the season, you got the experience of yourself of Donny, of Danny, and a couple of others, and all of a sudden injuries sort of start to take effect, and you lose Brownie. You've lost, possibly lost Donny. I can't remember if Donny was playing, but all of a sudden, then you sort of yourself, and you've got youngsters all the way around you in that sort of back area. Do you think that sort of might have played into it a bit as well? Because you said if it's there, you've had the experience of being there and doing it before, and then all of a sudden you get to that and you haven't got that experience around you.
Yeah, possibly, definitely. I think experience. I think people might think, oh, it's an old school feeling, but I think you can't beat it. You can't beat it, especially if you've been in a final and you've been in the semi-final, final. But in these leagues, it's like season's finished, semi-final, final, done. Let's get on with it. So he's playing, and I think I definitely would have missed Brownie, of course. But I think he was always there. He was always a voice in the changing room. He was always good in that side of things. But I think the first 2 goals definitely I can remember them like yesterday. It was a diagonal ball in between Josh and the centre, and I think he either headed it or volleyed it over the goalie's head. It was such a silly goal to give away, and so shitty goal, to be honest with you. Goal that really wound me up, and goals that probably would have happened 2-3 weeks ago.
But it's one of I think it's one of those things though. If you had somebody like Brownie in midfield, no disrespect, you've got a couple of them in there that are maybe running the midfield a little bit, and the ones putting the balls through. That all of a sudden Brownie realises that with his sort of like knowledge of the game and the way he does it, go over and give him a bit of a clout or a stamp on the foot or an elbow in the ribs, and all of a sudden then that experience then sort of like on the pitch if he's there, sort of almost sort of makes him think, oh, hang on a minute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was too easy for him that day. It was too easy everywhere. Midfield, even up front, and we didn't really control the forward that well. But it was too easy for them, and then they put their stamp on it. And then with the pitch, with the not saying it as an excuse because that's what it is. The conditions and how they played it, they done what we done to Heybridge. Really, they made us look silly. We were so bad that day. It was probably one of the worst performances of the season. It was such a bad performance by all of us. And I can remember half time. This is probably one thing I regret doing. So even though it probably wasn't my fault, I've come into the change room and I've slammed the door, smashed the door. We was 1 or 2 down by then, I can't remember. And I've slammed the door open. And that John guy I was talking about earlier, the centre midfielder, Glowacki, and he was behind the door, but I've not seen him. Obviously, I've slammed the door and it's hit him. he's sitting, but I think crutches. No, I don't think he was injured anyway. He was injured, so. And I hadn't seen it, so I said, "Door," and he's gone, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa," but obviously thinking, and I've just said, "Shut the fuck up, get out of the way, move." I said, "I'm pissed off, get out of the way," which is not a way to act because you're captain, you've got to try and be thingy. But I walked in, and then he says something back, and we're nearly scrapping. I don't know if anyone's ever told this before, but I'm going for I've lost it, and this is like not a way you should think. Not lost it, but can't. But we're gonna have a scrap at half time. Sometimes that works, but obviously being a captain is silly. But I was one of the first ones in, so it wasn't the whole team there, but still it was out of line of myself, by myself, and it just sort of that just showed the frustration and where we was at. I'm coming this, and then it's calmed down. And then Chapo's coming, what, blah, 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 sit down, shut up. And then, but that's one thing I regret doing myself, because you shouldn't do that as a captain. And you should, and also it's no beneficial to anyone. People see that and they're looking around, he's lost, Dale's lost it. Blah, blah, blah. It's not, so, but I can remember that. That's one thing I do honestly regret, David. I shouldn't have done that. But it's just a heat of the moment thing. And we was playing so bad, it's just a frustration boiled over. And that showed where we was at that day. It just wasn't right. Our heads weren't right, which is a ridiculous thing to say, but we wasn't.
But I mean, also as well, I think they played very well. They played into, how can I put it? They played to our sort of weaknesses, I suppose, in a way, didn't they? As well.
Yeah.
The pitch itself, when you got someone like, and again, I'm not sure if it was Shane Stamp one side and Junior the other side, or who it was on the other wing, but with the likes of Junior. Mr. Pencil, Mr. Pencil Body. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the guy's like incredible, isn't he? I mean, he's unreal. But he's, when he lets go and he starts going, if you've got a pitch there that's really, really dry and really sort of like lumpy and bumpy, he's not going to be able to do what he does on the pitch at Harlow and knock it in front of him and run after it. So they probably played quite well to their strengths.
They did. I mean, that was one of the things that should have been we would have relied on Dado to dominate that game, put it on a plate for Reedy to tap in 2 or 3 goals, bang, we're done, So, and I can remember, he was completely not in the game at all, the whole game, which again, one of our better players, that doesn't help. But yeah, I think the conditions and the way they played it, and again, it's just one of the things where they just dealt with it so much better than us, and it's one of the regrets I've had definitely.
So you go into the dressing room after the game, you've lost the game. We're back to square one as such. I mean, what was the atmosphere in this dressing room like? Because I remember seeing Lane Eady absolutely distraught, and he goes into that himself. When I had a chat with him, so was that then a case of the likes of you and Danny and others, the more experienced players getting round the youngsters in the team and sort of almost putting an arm around their shoulder?
I could be honest here, to an extent, but. That day I retired. I stopped playing. That was my last ever game of football. So the final whistle went. I'll just go back a little bit. The final whistle went, and they were giving it to me last few minutes. Their bench were giving it the big one to me, blah, 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 because I might have said something about them before, and they didn't like it, and they've obviously remembered it. And they're saying things to me. And as the final whistle's won, they've run on the pitch, and they've nudged me. I'm just like, heads down, gone. Then just thought, right, and I'm having a row with one of their coaches or something. They're running past, jumping on me. And I was like an 18, 19-year-old kid on there giving it large to me. And I was walking off the pitch, and this sounds so crazy. I walked off the pitch, I went, that's me, done. That is it. I can't deal with an 18, 19-year-old give it the big one to me, because I feel like I just want to go and flatten him. And that was the first thing I felt, which is crazy. So I'm walking off the pitch. As I walked into the changing room, obviously devastation, everyone's gutted. And yeah, I probably spoke to Josh, I probably spoke to Lane, I probably did. But there's not much you can say, not much else you can say after that. And I just felt I was gutted, because then it happened like that for me. The realisation there is, I'm not playing football again. That's me done. That is it, done. Which is crazy, because I was only just 30 years old. And I remember going, and that day I found out Martin Allen tried to shout at my missus as well, so I was a bit pissed off about that, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, I was just so gutted in myself, because I wanted to make an impact in the game. I wanted to I felt like I hadn't played well. Not that I made too many mistakes, because none of the goals really were my fault or whatever, but I didn't really do nothing in the game to affect it like I normally could. I couldn't get the legs going, and I just had enough. So after that, that was just like a realisation that that's it. I'm done now. I'm playing football again, and I stuck to it. And then I thought people say, and I'll talk about me nearly getting back into it again that season, next season with Harlow. Chapo was so keen for me to come back, but I didn't. I did a couple of sessions, but I didn't. But it's just so. It is bad. It sounds great. It's just I just felt gutted because like we didn't put in. If we played well and we lost, we go, oh, Eldran's up, fair enough. But we were so bad, and I was just gutted for it, myself and everyone, really. To be honest with you.
So I mean, when did you let Chapo know that that was it, game over for you? And
probably a day after.
I mean, did you regret that decision though through the summer? And was it one of the things you thought, oh, I'll go again?
100% regretted it, but not at the time. At the time, I say I'd regret it probably. Right, so basically, I made my mind up. Walking off the pitch, I made my mind up, and then let Chapo know, and he was like, "Nah, you ain't getting that, whatever, bollocks. You're not. That's it, whatever. Come back, see you next season, sort of thing." So I'm not coming back, mate. I said, I'm done. I can't. I don't want to do it no more. He said, "You're 30, not even 30 or 30. What are we doing?" I said, "I'm not coming back." So that season, when the summer went on, and you start getting itches, didn't you? And then people's back to pre-season soon, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No, definitely not. And then it comes to a point where I've come there to go back, and I went to one session. I went with Harlow, and I just tried my hardest, and I just maybe it's where my head was at in life at the time. Maybe I don't know, but yeah. And then I didn't. I stuck to it, and for 3 years, Dave, I got to be honest, probably 2 to 3 years. I'd always look out for a Harlow or a Brentwood result or whatever, but I weren't really, didn't know players, and players of my age were going out the games, and newer younger players coming out. I thought I fell out of it completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was where I was at, but now 100% agree it.
So looking back
couldn't get more, mate.
But looking back at it though, I mean, you got, as you just said, you're looking out for the Brentwood results, you're looking out for the Harlow results. So how hard was that for you, sort of in your own sort of mind and whatever, when the following season, of course, is Harlow's 100-point season, and they nearly get up, but who gets up off the playoffs? Brentwood, beating Thurrock in the final, and then the following season, Harlow get to the playoff final, and Harlow go up in the second season. So the two teams that you're looking out for. And you could possibly think, well, I'd only be 32, and I could have been still part of all of that. Do you know what I mean? Was that tough for you mentally? Because I mean, you've literally got 2 seasons where you could have gone up.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously I was the problem, wasn't I? So I went and then got promoted. No, I don't think that's true. But but again, I even look at it like, I know it's not a paper game. It's not look at our player, but I looked at both of the score and I thought our team would have. It was just so much. When I was at Harlow, I thought our team was such a much better team that the team got promoted, player for player. And I feel like the Brentwood one definitely was.
Yeah.
But it just shows that it ain't about that. But it did. It's about your luck and going on a good run and all sorts of team spirit, everything. Even though we had that, but yeah, I was gutted. I wasn't gutted. I was happy, but I was just like, I should have really been doing that, because again, but I do feel that experience of. I mean, when Harlow got promoted, a couple of lads would have still been there, right?
Yeah, So I mean,
I think taking that experience in, they probably would have a couple of years older, a couple of years better. That would have definitely helped, especially Lane or something like that. That would have definitely helped them personally, and that just shows that experience, having an experience either way of something, good or bad, that it does help. It does. So that would have been beneficial for them. Probably not even me screaming their ear out, probably would have helped as well. So they're a bit more relaxed than I was playing with them.
Well, I asked the question to Danny Brown. I'll ask the question to you. If Chapo all of a sudden becomes Harlow manager next season or the season after, and all of a sudden there's a phone call that comes your way and says, "Look, come down and be my number 2," would you take it with him?
I'll snap his hand off. I love my time there. I feel my I feel that when I was there, I had a good bond. I feel like I'm knowledgeable about the game. I've got more experience now. That season last season at Brentwood, up and down, of course, a lot of downs, but it showed that I was getting better and better at the game, because when I first started, that first session I put on was all over the place. But it was just getting used to it and just adapting to how players, even the mentality of some players, even in our leagues down here, it's so different to when even 6 years ago, and dealing with players. But I feel like players that I still got a bit of people understand me and know myself, so they got a bit of, they understand where I'm coming from, so they'll respect me a little bit that way. But 100%. I mean, probably something I shouldn't really say, but I've had this conversation with Chapo before, not long ago, and it wasn't too far off happening then, to be honest with you. But something I had to turn down. But I would, yeah. I mean, but obviously I'm Ryan O'Rourke's my man, so hopefully we get into football with himself. But I don't want to wait around too long. So yeah, 100%, I'll snap his hand off, and I'm pretty sure. I've had a conversation with Chapo about this 2 years ago, not even that. So this has come up, and I'll throw myself into it. I feel like I'll be a positive effect on people, defensive side especially. But yeah, I need to release myself. I need to go at people, Dave. I've got this energy, mate. I need to give it out, you know. But no, I love it. I fell back in love with it. I didn't feel out of love with football, not love of it, but just didn't get involved in it. And I didn't miss it for ages. I didn't miss it at all. When I got back into it, I love it. So I loved it so much. I'm back in.
So you sort of left off football, plan wise, that season. I mean, what did Darren Blewitt get up to once football was over until you got back involved?
Yeah, I mean, I was just. It was being more with Mrs. and daughter, and my daughter was born as well. So she was just born that year. So it was more like spending time now. But I got too fat, Dave. I got too lazy, and I got and I could tell. And I mean, some of the photos I've had from a couple of years ago, they're so heavy they fell off the wall, mate. That's how big I was. But I'm doing all right now. So, but it's yeah, I just realised that. My missus hate me saying this, but football was in me, mate. But like I said at the start, my career went back to front. So I was a professional footballer. I was at West Ham from the age of 10 to 21. I went through all the youth team. I was a pro there for 3 years. I'd been on loan to Southend, Hereford. Played at the Millennium Stadium a couple of times. I've been in squads in finals. That's what. But you start there and then you work your way down. And then, but I then got dropped. For released from West Ham and then went into non-league, so I should have really done it the other way, But that's where I feel like now I'm missing. I don't want to miss out too long again. I don't want to keep out the game too much longer. Can't do it, mate.
I've just got a question for you from Buddha.
Go on.
So this is quite a good question. It's just come in, so that's why I kept looking at my phone, because I've asked people to send some questions for you. But he sent one in for it. It says. I love Darren's pre-match warm-up, punching himself in the face left and right, fists. Why did he do this, and when did it first start?
Oh, right. I'll try it. See, I got through nearly an hour with Dave without mentioning that. I didn't look like an absolute psychopath. That started when I was about 16, 15. Basically, I don't know. I just felt like it got more when I got into non-league. I'd walk out, I'd give it that, bang, 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 10 times. So there might be a slight bit of OCD about me, Dave. You might have mentioned it, might have realised. But I did the same. Walk over my head, bang, 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 and then roar. And it just felt, that was my little thing, Yeah. And I did the same thing. I'd always come out last, bang, 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 in the changing room, to the front of obviously kept being captain, into the tunnel, same thing, nudge a few people, go out. And it was just the thing that I thought that would help me. I don't know why. People got suspicious. I've now got permanent concussion and brain damage from this. But yeah, no. I mean, I was just getting used to someone else punching me in the face, because I'd always try and get stuck in, So it's just a little warm up.
Well, when you left Harlow, I'm sure I saw on one of your social media bits that there was a picture of you back in a West Ham shirt. Was that right? Was that a charity game or a Legends game or something you was involved in? And seeing you.
Come on, Dave, you're trying to draw me. You know what it was.
Go on.
It was I played in Mark Noble's testimonial, didn't I? So something I don't like to bring up a lot. Only every 5 minutes. Yeah, no, but I just showed my point. That was 3 years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. Seems like yesterday. And the one thing I hated about that was the pictures, because the shirts now are so skin tight. I was banging trouble, Dave. I was so worried. I didn't want to go. It was my big moment to draw a line under my West Ham when I was there, and I'm going to play Upton Park with all these legends. And the shirt was about 3 sizes too small.
Well, if it's any bonus to you, there was a West Ham Legends game. I'm sure it was a West Ham's Legends game, and George Paris was playing.
Yeah.
Well, if you think your shirt was tight, mate, you should have seen that one. But boy,
you just said I look like George Paris, or
mate, I'm just saying, if you said yours was tight, boy, oh boy, could he play football? That bloke, I tell you, he was pinging balls like on a sixpence.
He was. Yeah, I know that's the thing, but. Well, I was in the change room, obviously, and we're talking there with Telly Sheringham there, Paolo Di Canio, Rio Ferdinand, all these top players. They're still like that. I was getting changed in the shower because I was so embarrassed, you know. But no, it was just a great day for me, you know.
So how did that come about, Darren? How did you get? How did you get a phone? You know, what was your feelings like when you got the phone call from Mark, and how did it come about?
Well, I still speak to Mark quite often, not often, but. I've known Mark since he was 8-10 years old. So, it was more me being a pest and constantly messaging him and threatening him that I'll expose things. Or no, it wasn't. No, it was just a joke. But it was that and constant. Come on, Mark, joking around, half joking but half being serious. If you're having a testimonial, mate, I'm involved. Surely, come on, blah blah blah. And messaged him constantly, and he messaged me 2 days before the game. It wasn't like a build-up. And he said, yeah, do you fancy half an hour? I said, of course I fancy half an hour, you twat. I said, I've been waiting for your message for I don't know how long. So, but I was just to get that call is crazy. Like, it was just, I've spoke about it so much, but it was a line drawer for me of being at Upton Park as well. So, such a great day, mate. I loved it. Being around all them players and just being a part of it, you know. Good stuff.
One, did you keep your shirt? And 2, did you get them all to sign it?
I've got both, yeah, of course. I got my shirt, all signed it. I was so excited. They all signed the front of the shirt, so I can't frame it. I've either got my number and name on one side, or the signatures on the other side. But it was just a great day. I got that. Yeah, I got that. I got like Harrods were there, and they give you gift bags, and it was just like being a pro for a day again, you know.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. Such a good day. I scored a penalty as well, and it was just such a good day for me, mate.
Was that still at Upton Park then? Was it, or was that at the new stadium?
It was Upton Park, yeah. That was the season it went. Yeah. After that, they knocked it down. Yeah. So it was just a brilliant day, mate. I loved it.
Oh, it must have been incredible. I mean, I'd love to have done something like that, but that was sensational. But I mean, yourself now. I mean, what's the future? Do you feel then that you're just waiting for a phone call from either Danny or Ryan to and get back involved?
I'm trying to keep proactive. So I'm back. I've had a couple of. I've had not just them. I've had a couple of calls of other guys who are managers at clubs. I'm going to go down next week to one of them, and I don't really want to say just at the minute.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really spoke to him properly about this, but he wants me to come down and maybe be part of their management team, because I don't want to be out too long, and I was out of it for so long, and once I got the taste of it, I loved it, and I feel that I'm more experienced and know more what I'm talking about now, as even to 6 months ago when I was at Brentwood at the start.
Yeah.
So I feel that, but I would honestly, Dave, I would love to get back into it as soon as possible. I'm ready. So, yeah, I mean, in my life personally, it's been a bit ups and down. As I spoke to you about before, again, up and down and things happening and whatever. A bit of mental health stuff, which is a bit deep for this right now. We'll maybe talk about it another day. But something that I feel strongly about now as well, and I want to maybe have another chat with you one day about it and go through bits and pieces and just trying to help that side of things with people as well. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm maturing now. I feel like I'm 34 and I'm maturing. It took long enough. So, but I do. No, I'm ready. I'm just trying to attack life now and have a good go, you know.
Yeah.
And good to speak to yourself and about old times like this, because I loved it.
Yeah.
I'll say I've got so much vivid memories about it. I love it.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I spoke to people like Phil Tewson and Ian as well, and said to them, look, give me some facts and stuff, around Darren and etc. etc. And I was quite surprised when Ian came back to me and he said, Dave, he said I can't really find too much, and I think he only played one season, but it was one of those things where I thought he'd been at the club for a really long time. He said he signed in 2013, made 46 appearances and scored twice.
Yeah, only twice, which is a bit disappointing, really, because I've got a big head on me. Should have scored more, mate.
Can you remember who that was against, though, the 2 goals?
I think one of them might have been against Haybridge, maybe at home. Pretty sure it was. We 1-0 up, and I think we lost the game. But I think it was against them. I can't remember the other one. Maybe, possibly. I might be wrong, but yeah, pretty sure it was them. But yeah, again, that's what I said. I was only here 1 season, but it felt like I was there for much longer because of the bond we had and the season we had. And I should have been there longer, to be honest with you. As we spoke about, I should have stayed and got myself promoted.
Oh dear! Listen, mate, I've really enjoyed the last hour and a bit with you, mate, and it's been sensational. And as I said to you, anytime when you want to have another chat, and we can go into what you've said there about your mental health issues, and I'm more than happy to go into my struggles around that as well. So I'd be more than happy to have that sort of second a chat with you, and we can do like a special or whatever you want to do whenever you're ready to talk. But massive thank you for coming on today, and wish you, the family, all the best for the future. Hopefully we all get through this, what we're getting through now, and hopefully we see you back in football. And who knows, if Mr. Danny Chapman does surface back at Harlow Town, then we might see you alongside him, and that'd be fantastic if we do. But until then, I hope you've enjoyed the chat, everybody, with Darren today. We've got more lined up. We're trying to get hold of people like Ray Wickenden as well, so we got all these people to have a chat with as well. But until next time, from me, from Darren, good night.
Up the Hawks.